So let's get this here. How are you, Alberto? I hope everything is well over there on your side of the woods. Saludos. Saludos, Mike. Welcome back to the show. Welcome back, guys. I had to do this one, I had to do a matinee. It's okay, Albert. I'm happy you're here, Papa. Good for you. Saludos, Frank. Saludos to you, Frank. Hey, let me do this quickly so we can attend the gentlemen's of the show. All right, so we have that. That's there. It's there. Put this here for them. Okie dokie. So we're doing this. Let me see what I have here. Mm-hmm. 62. So we have that there. Saludos, Franco. Welcome back, Franco, to the show. Give me a thumbs up, guys. Saludos, Ross from England. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Just give me a second. I'm going to be on, guys. I'm just trying to get something here ready so I don't make a mistake. Let me see, where is that at? Yeah, so we'll do that there. And here we are. So this is not right. Okay, this is here. Now we're almost there, gentlemen. 30 seconds, I'm on. 30 seconds, I am on. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back once again to the matinee. This is the matinee watch market update show. The matinee, like when you go to the movies, you have the matinee in the movie theater, So this is the matinee watch market update. All right, guys? So, I had to do a matinee. As you know, we are the only public service watch announcement channel out there. The rest that you guys see, you see a bunch of BS. They're giving you a bunch of BS. But the BS is almost over because they don't have no more room to BS you guys. Because you guys are recovering all tomato cans. And you guys are doing well, You guys are all well here, You know what I'm trying to say. Saludos to all of you here. Welcome. And good morning to you. Good morning to you. I think his name is Britt. Britt, good morning to you. So, this is the only public service watch announcement channel out there. And what I ask for all of you is to give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to this great, great channel, you're missing out. You're missing out on something special, ladies and gentlemen. I want to start the show. Because, I had to do the show today for many reasons. I've had some subscribers write to me, I need this watch price, I need this watches urgently. And, I'm going to give that person today the prices that I believe that he should pay for those watches if he's looking for them. That's one. And ladies and gentlemen, you investors, you investors there are investing on precious metal materials, precious metal materials. You you're gonna have to learn how to navigate through a volatile world. If you don't know what I say, you Google it. I learned that word the other day, volatile. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right or wrong, but I'm trying my best, with the high school GED that I have, and I'm telling you how it is. Right now, you guys are in a volatile world, volatile world, whatever you want to call it, It's unbelievable, and I gotta tell you this, because if you guys, if nobody tells you, they're not gonna tell you, because these people don't want to tell you nothing. They do not want to tell you a single thing about nothing, what's happening out there. And I have to, and I'm gonna tell you something today. There is a big deficit, on silver supply. There's a big deficit on silver supply. It has been exceeding something unbelievable. And this has been happening for some years. And I told you about this subject about silver. Silver is the sleeper. Silver is the sleeper, ladies and gentlemen. And all these people, what they tell you is about, wow, why is this happening with silver? You might be asking yourself, why are you talking about gold? I don't want to talk about gold. I don't want to talk about gold. I want to talk about silver. I want to talk about silver today. And if you don't like it, you leave. That's all. But I'm going to tell you this, ladies and gentlemen, what these people are telling you, the owners of the world, they're telling you, this is due, on high demand from industrial uses like electronics, solar panels, electronics, solar panels, they're the ones that have preference to all this, electronics and solar panels. These people are unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. And combined with the fact that most silver is, a byproduct of other, again, these people, these guys are just doing this to us, And you know what that is, ladies and gentlemen? You want me to tell you what that is? You want me to tell you what that is? It's because, ladies and gentlemen, the owners of the world are hiding and holding on to all that silver. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing, because they're holding on to it. The owners of the world, the owners of the world, the ones that you guys are too, you guys are blindfolded. You guys can't see straight. They're the ones that are holding that, and they're giving you the sketch, solar panels, electronics, this, that, you need it for that, for this, the factories, they got the preference, they get first choice. You know what I'm trying to say? They tell you that. They tell you now that it's that. And that this is why we have, a deficit on silver. Saludos, Julius, out of Miami. Saludos to all of you, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you understand what I'm trying to transmitir, transmit to you people out there, because ustedes son unos lambones, unos palomos, And I have to talk to you like that to let you know, because things are happening in a way that nobody cannot believe what's happening. But you guys have me. You guys are lucky that you guys have me. And I tell you all these things. These people are unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. A byproduct of other, this is unbelievable, mining operations, mining operations. Esto es el carajo. They know that silver is the sleeper. And you guys are sleeping on it, ladies and gentlemen. I went to Costco to get, I went today to buy 10 ounces of silver. Y no hay, papi, no hay. In other words, there's no hay nada. And the people, I believe the owners of the world, which is a big business, they're holding on to all the silver. Porque ese que le van a meter el palo a todo mundo. That's the one. That's the one that's gonna kick, ASS, it's going to kick. And I'm telling you guys need to, start navigating through a volatile world, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, there's nobody that's going to drop knowledge like this, on a weekend day, matinee for you people, but I will because I have to, ladies and gentlemen. I have to do this, you know. They told me that I'm doing work, I'm doing a job for free, so I have to continue, ladies and gentlemen, you know. And I want to also tell you guys something. Go break the system, papi. I've been quiet about it. I told you guys a couple of weeks ago, don't fall asleep with silver. Silver is a monstruo. Silver is the monster, you know? And these motherfroggers are getting ready, you know? They're coming with the excuse that, the people that get first choice at this, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but I have to para que te penetre la chola. You know what chola is? Chola is head, you know? La cabeza, head, chola, you know, para que te penetre bien profundo. And then they're telling you this subliminal message that, electronic people get first shot, solar panels get first shot, and there's no more silver out there. Ladies and gentlemen, there's no silver out there. There's a deficit de plata. You know? You understand what I'm trying to tell you? Try to understand what I'm saying. You know, hay una cosa que está mala allá afuera, and they're doing it to us. You know, I don't have time today to talk about Blackstone, not BlackRock, Blackstone. I don't have time for that today because, I gotta go out with my wife tonight. My wife loves me, and I love my wife, and we're gonna have a little chow, you know. Tú sabes, maybe I'll get lucky tonight, you know. You know what I'm saying? But you gotta see what these people are doing. And ladies and gentlemen, I gotta tell you something else that you're not gonna believe when I tell you this. You're gonna go, gold prices. I'm gonna go to gold now for a second. Gold prices are so high. Even central banks are feeling FOMO. I don't know what FOMO means. But ladies and gentlemen, one more time. Even central banks are feeling FOMO. Papi, los bancos centrales. Los bancos centrales, they're feeling FOMO. I don't know. I don't know what that means, but it sounds very powerful to me that, the central banks. I'm not saying that. You Google it. Remember, I do a lot of reading, you do a lot of reading. Anywhere I go, even if I go for a cruise in Kino's little, banana boat, I read. And I'm telling you what's going on, Central banks are feeling FOMO, and I'm telling you what's going on. So you guys get prepared because they're trying to get us. These people, they know, okay, we are obedient. We are obedient slaves. They know that already. They know if they tell you tomorrow that this is going to be tokenized, you're going to go with them. If they tell you it's going to go, you go with them. They know it already. It's a few people like us that we are awakened. Estamos despiertos, but the rest son unos lambones. We are sheeps, ready to walk into the slaughterhouse. But not me and not you. No way in the world. We don't permit that, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, I must tell you something else. Ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to change the conversation because today I'm telling you I have a date with the wife, and I can't be messing around. She'll start texting me. Come on, move it already, Charlie. Some people also have been reaching out to me via text, via WhatsApp, via email, and they're asking me, ladies and gentlemen, what is going on with Rolex, precious metal watches that they haven't, risen the prices. The prices have not gone up. And ladies and gentlemen, I spoke to you about that subject on chapter 7, chapter 7. I told you that Paddock was buying millions and millions and millions of dollars in gold. Like AP, like Vacheron Constantin, they were all buying gold. Breguet, Breguet. And I told you, don't think for a moment that the king, is not buying gold. The king buys gold. They just don't woof their mouth. They don't woof it. They're quiet. But they're the king. And I told you that these people, this is years ago, I would say, para que estén tranquilos, so you guys can relax. I was saying this probably 2 to 2.5 years ago. I was telling you all this. And people were looking at me, who's this guy? Who's this guy think he is? Giving out, financial, No, yo soy un lambón. I was never doing that. I was just reading before you guys ever thought that gold was going to go to the moon. And I told you all that, but people were saying, who made this guy the king bee of gold? Okay, but ladies and gentlemen, I was telling you that, ladies and gentlemen, what was going on. I was telling you also a couple of months ago, that Rolex, the people were there, the round table from Rolex, they all flew, to the United States over there, to Pennsylvania Avenue, and they sat down with that guy from Pennsylvania Avenue, Rolex, the king, the king. The rest just sits around their table. But Rolex is the king. The king. The king. Rolex is the king, papi. Don't ever forget that. Don't ever forget that. Saludos, Renato. Don't ever forget that. Rolex is the king. El papá de Tarzán. And I told you all these things, and a lot of you, were like, what is this guy talking about? It's that, somebody told me that I have to keep my, knowledge a little bit simpler for you people, because usted tan, you guys don't understand this. And I have to explain it to you, in a very nice way. And the reason I'm talking about that, ladies and gentlemen, people are saying, so what happened with the prices of Rolex? With precious metals, they haven't touched the prices. And for one thing, I don't think they need to touch it, because what they must have a refinery, of gold, Querasco. They must have their gold for the next, for the next 10 years. How's that? For the next 10 years of watches. For the next 10 years. They must have gold there. That's one. Number two, they made a visit, to Washington, D.C. They made a visit to Washington, D.C. They came with the CEO. They came with everybody. You know what I'm trying to say, Mr. Blair. Please help me out. Because these people, they're skip hopping around through life like rabbits. And I got to continue giving it to them, So, they came with the whole entourage. They went to Pennsylvania Avenue. They sat down with that guy, They spoke to them. And it was quick meeting and bang. So maybe they know something already, that maybe one day the tariff is going to get fixed and blah, 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 blah. Let me explain to you something, ladies and gentlemen. Gold watches. Let me give you an example. A Rolex Daytona. Listen and learn. A Rolex Daytona 116508. It weighs 218 grams or 7.7 ounces. Hear me out. It will weigh, it have like 198 grams to 7 ounces of gold once you take away the weight of the movement, but keep the rotor, the gold rotor. The gold. You probably don't even know that the rotor inside the watch is gold. You understand me? Please. So, you take out the movement, saca el movimiento, you take out the movement, you put there, you saca el rotor, you put it there, it's 18 karat gold, 18 karat gold. So Rolex is playing with a 75% pure 18K. 18 karat gold is 75% pure. It's not 24, but they're working with 75%. Listen and learn. No sean huele bicho. Listen and learn. But you keep it. You keep that 75%. And now, ladies and gentlemen, you have a total of, once you take out the movement and you convert it into that, pure, 24 karat, whatever it is, you have a 5.25 ounces. 5.25 ounces you have now, That would cost Rolex. So you understand. That will cost Rolex, the manufacturer, la manufactura, la mano de obra. It will cost them $14,175 at the end of the year 2024. December 31st, that Daytona precious metal cost them $14,175 at the end of 2024. But check this out. But today, with gold price rocketing, all over the place, it's unbelievable, man. Rocketing to, let's say $44,250 an ounce. Today, that will cost you. It's unbelievable. It soared. It went all the way up. January, December 31st, 2024, $14,000. And today, that same watch, that same Daytona, reference number 116508, it will cost you today $22,275. Did you understand me? 14 to 22. Eso es un billete. Pero esa gonorrea de Rolex, they knew it all. They were buying so much gold that they could withstand el palo. Y están callados. They're quiet. They gave it a price increase in January, one in May, but they haven't touched nothing. They're the only ones, the king. They're the only ones. Papi, these people have everything controlled. They have everything cornered. These people are brilliant, man. I'm telling you, $14,000 to produce that Rolex Daytona 116508, $14,000. And today, that same watch, $22,275. Papi, esa gente son unos monstruos. They're monsters. There's no need for them to increase the prices yet. Because I'm telling you, when they all came down from Geneva, the whole cabinet, los grandote, 5 stars, all 5 stars came there and they spoke to the guy over there from Pennsylvania Avenue. It was a brief meeting, tranquilo, you go back, you guys are the kings. Ustedes son los king. There's no problem. This is going to blow up. Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys don't know this. Rolex is looking at an increase que es asombroso. Do you guys know the number of what they're talking about gold with Rolex? The increase, with the tariff and all that. You know what it is? Can somebody put it up there? Let's see where you guys are at. If they put that number, man, I'm telling you, then none of us can buy any watches. I'm telling you. Does anybody know? They have all the gold they want. They're the ones that if Paddock runs out or or AP, they're gonna hit your Rolex, man. You know, we know that you got everything monopolized. You know, you got a corner, man. You know, you had a head start because they were telling you already a long time ago what was coming. You know, and we didn't really know too much because you guys are the king. You guys are the king, and they know everything, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody knows what the increase is. Tú ves que eso uno huele. So uno huele. No. How about Julius out of Miami? Maybe Julius out of Miami knows something. Or Renato, you know, or Mr. Donut. You know, somebody put something there. You know, somebody. You know, tell me. No, nobody still knows, huh? Nobody. I'm gonna stay there for a while because I want to see a number. Throw a number. Google it. Call your friend Pepe. He'll tell you. I gotta get going. I have a date today. Let me tell you, man, if that goes up, it's gonna go up to a 39%, man. 39. No, who threw that one? Who threw Magic City, baby? I'm telling you, somebody's on target here. In this channel, we just brought knowledge. There it is. 30%, 39%. 39%. And Rolex is like this. I'm telling you, 39%, and Rolex hasn't made a move. Patek, 15%. The other one is, well, you know, they're ready, bro. They're ready. And Rolex hasn't made a move, man. A move. They haven't made a move because they made it. You're asking yourself, but how did they make it? Well, for the last 4 years, they've been increasing every 6 months. Every January, they keep on increasing because they have that, yeah, it's gonna, yeah, do it again. Yeah, do it again, do it again, do it again. It's coming, you know, it's coming. Papi, esta gente son brutal. What they have, not one single watch company, I'm talking about políticamente, okay? Get it through your head. I'm talking politic-wise, you know? Politic-wise, there's nobody like those monsters. You keep on increasing it because I remember, man, when I was in lockdown in that Corona beer era that I was making masks with underwears, you know, because there was no mask still. These people were jacking up the prices. 3, 4, 11, 9, stainless steel, two-tone, gold, that. So they were doing that. They kept on doing it. You know, they kept on increasing their prices to get to the number they're at. And now they don't have to increase nothing and they're quiet. Because nosotros somos unos lambones. You know, somos lambones. You know, I can't really see where I'm going to put my hat backwards, you know. I want to be like those guys that, you know, they have, you know, the Louis Vuitton Nike sneakers. I can see better. I can't see. I'm telling you what's going on. These people are unbelievable. And I'm telling you that you're going to have to, you know, navigate through a volatile, you know, world. You're going to have to because, papi, what's happening now is so gross that, you know, you remember those guys that they used to put those funny masks on and they will say, this is going to happen in the world. You know, have you ever wondered whatever happened to that guy with the funny mask and the strange voice? Oh, we're going to do today, you know what? You know, in the year 2007, you ever notice whatever happened to the guy with the mask? Does anybody know what I'm talking about? The guy with the mask, you know, like it's not, I don't know, like a Joker mask. You know, he would put a black cape on and he would tell us, you know, with a funny voice and his mask, so nobody will, you know, can catch him because he was saying, he was throwing all the signs, everything, you know, he was throwing all the signs. Have you noticed that guy doesn't appear nowhere? It doesn't come by no more. There's no more. You know, there's nobody, no more, no guy, no more the, you know, with that hoodie and the mask, and he would talk. You know, does anybody know what I'm talking about? Or tampoco, they don't know about this stuff, man. They don't know about this. Papi, it's all been planned. It's all, exactamente. It's all been a plan. Thank you, Sori. It's all been a plan. And the plan is ya being exposed. It doesn't, you have to connect the dots. But why doesn't Rolex, raise the prices? Somos tan lambones, we're so palomos that we ask ourselves, why isn't Rolex raising the prices? You know, you want to get more. You've been getting for the last 4 years prices. Can anybody tell me in the last 4 years? I can't get into everything, Mr. Donald, but yes, I do. In the last 4 years, Anonymous, thank you very much, Anonymous. That is the guy, El Bond. There he is. This gentleman said it. The real name is Anonymous. You don't see that guy no more. You don't see that guy no more. Because when that guy comes out, before it goes out, like any of these channels, it has to first pass through their platform, which they're sitting down like this and they're looking at it. And then they decide if they're going to let that go anonymously. You know? You guys didn't understand that. One more time. Before they let that video go out, they publish it. You know? Before anonymous, you know? Before they let it go public, they look at it. And once they see the big, that big tunic, black tunic, and the mask, and the funny voice, they don't let it in. They don't let it in. You guys don't know about that. It's the same thing with me when they throw me a thunder lightning, which it can happen right now because I'm dropping this to you guys for free on a matinee. You know? You know what I'm trying to say, Franco. I can't say it so clearly because, the lightning is going to hit me and that's it. But those people that are anonymous, thank you very much, Mr. El Bunf, for telling me that. El Bunf is called anonymous. You know, that mask and the funny voice, you don't hear him no more. And he was the one that was doing us all a favor. And they got him. They got him. I don't mean that they got him this way. They got him. They cannot upload no more. Show me your face, Anonymous, and I'll probably let you in. But once he shows his face, it's over. They don't let that go by no more. Anonymously, 4 or 5 years ago, it was everywhere. No, 6, 7 years ago, it was everywhere. And they were telling you all the agenda, what's going on, what's coming. And no, la gente comiéndose los mocos, comiéndoselo. Así. Así. You know, that's it. But he was telling us everything. And I was listening. You know, I was listening. Yeah, Miami River for him. He'll be floating the Miami River. So he got smart. You know, every time he had to go to one of those, computer places, in the malls and sit down. And he had it there, boom, and let it go. Because he had there his information. They didn't know who it was. But they got smart. They saw that every time it was going to be published, first it has to pass through them. And it has never been again, let go to the public to see. Papi, we are living volatile times in this world, and you're going to have to navigate. Porque te van a comer los chicles. They're going to eat your candy. They're going to eat your M&Ms, your now-laters. You know what I'm saying? You know what a now-later is? When I was a young kid, I would eat now-laters. It's unbelievable, that candy, And again, I gotta thank this gentleman, Mr. Bunf, El Bunf, because he said it correctly. It's anonymous. You don't see that guy no more. He was dropping so much knowledge, it was disgusting. If I go back to everything that I heard from that anonymous, I'm telling you, man, you're not gonna believe this, but high 90% accurate. 90%. And they're doing it to us, man. They're doing it to us. I'm telling you, you gotta be prepared with silver. Why I'm saying silver? Because silver does not cost $4,200 a troy ounce. Silver costs right now $52 a troy ounce. $52. I went to Costco to buy 10 ounces bars of silver. They don't have nothing. And the guy told me, listen, because he's another one. He knows already. He says, I don't see this coming over here. I don't see it coming anytime soon. This has been bought out by everybody. You know, just, you remember him. I know you remember him. I know you remember him, Sodi. You know, you don't see him no more. The anonymous guy, you don't see him no more, because to pass by any platform, or in particular this platform, you first gotta be Scream. Is it called Scream? Not like Scream the movie. Scream. You know, they have to screen you. I don't know how to say that word. You help me. You help me out. You know, screen. You know, screen. They have to. There you go. That word, right? Thank you very much, Grande, for always helping me out, because I don't know too much. You know, I don't know too much, and I'm telling you, they have to look at it. You know, like pretty soon, so you understand me, guys. I'm going to be straight up with you guys now. Every time, you ready for this? Every time the sweet kick Kino, you know, Kino to me, Joaquin to you. He's not here today, so I'm going to try my best, because he shows me cardboards, what I should say and all that stuff, but he's not here today. So I'm going to have to do this to the best of my knowledge. I'm going to say this to you. How can I say this, man, guys? It's crazy. Every time I'm thinking how I can tell you this, that, you know, I won't hurt my organic watch channel subscribers. I'm thinking every time that I do a video and I'm going to post it to go live, my videos take, you know what I'm trying to say, Mr. Donut. You know, I give it to you wrinkle, not press, but I'm trying to say it in a way that, you know, TV tower lightning knocks everything off, the fuse will blow up, y lo jodimos. It takes, for me, I would say, a good half an hour before they let it go. They got to see the whole thing. You know, you don't know what that means, what I said. You see, maybe Mr. Pete knows what I just finished telling you. Maybe Mr. Donut, maybe Mr. Blair, you know, they understand what I'm saying. When I am going to, you know, publish a video, there you goes. Analytics. You know, they have to look at it to make sure that everything is right. And it's me. Imagine that guy anonymous, that he was bombarding. Who do you think made the phone call? Yo, the anonymous guy with the funny voice and the funny mask, you need to do this. Who do you think did that? Who do you think did that? He's waking up too many people out there, they're asleep. He's waking up everybody. You know, he's talking about FEMA camps. You guys don't know what FEMA camp is. You know, he's waking up FEMA camps, FEMA coffins. You know, that's anonymous. They make a phone call. Who is it? You know, the IC. You know, the IC. That's it. You know, I'm telling you what it is, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to me. If you guys don't get prepared, estamos jodidos. I finished telling you that a Rolex watch costs in 2024. Exactly, Pete. Exactly. That's all. He cannot make a video because the guy, you know, I got to go back into this because, you know, Pete, you know, understands and, you know, it's, so what they do is, like I'm telling you, they go to those, you know, those rooms, you know, those chat rooms, you know, you know, they having those, you know, skirt malls. You sit there, you know, you already have it, pop, you let it go, you know, and you walk away, you know, he's talking nonsense, you know, to you people, he's telling you what he believes, what he thinks, you know, what happened in 119, what happened in 119, what happened over there in the Vegas concert, you know. You're talking about the schools, all this, and it's all happening. And then they said, this guy cannot make one single video no more because he is awakening, you know, the masses. I mean, I don't know if I'm coming. Do you guys understand what I'm saying, or am I, not coming through? Because I just can't say it like that. I can't. I wish I could, but I can't. You know, they say that we are, you know, they're not like us, Pete. They're not like us, Pete. They're not like us. They're not like us. They're not like us. They're not like us. Thank you, Grande. And it's what it is. So we're skip hopping around, and it's getting nasty. Before they would do it, real cool. But now they're giving you the sketch. Oh, no. What's going on? Me dijo a mí, a little Michigan tells me, no, you're wrong, Juan. I said, why am I wrong? He says, no, because the people that have first shot, at the silver is the solar panels. Real serious face. I'm looking at him, because the people that are gonna have first shot at silver is the solar panels, rocket ship to Mars, electronics. You know what I'm trying to say. You know what I'm trying to say. You know what I'm trying to say, Pete. Thank you very much, Pete, for that, thoughtful, lovely super chat to this, supporting this channel. Thank you very much, Pete. All love to you, Papi. All love to you. It just makes me now give you more, give you more. It's what it is. So the kid is telling me that. He's telling me, no. That's because the people that have the first shot is the electronics, electronics and solar panels. And I look at him, I said, Papi, tú estás loco. Tú estás loco. Do you know how long the deficit has been? Please, I challenge one of you out there. Look and see how long the deficit, of silver, that there's no more silver. No hay plata. There's no silver. There is. Hay un cojón. Pero physically, no hay nada. You know how long, ladies and gentlemen? 3 years. They've been playing with that sketch. We don't have no, the one we have is for that, for the guy over there, the guy for the electric cars, this one, that one, that's how it is. Look at that. There it is. There, grande, coño, eres grande, de verdad grande. Eres grande. Teach him, grande. I can't do it all by myself. Teach him. This gentleman just put there for all of you to look at what year. And I'm giving you subliminal messages for free. But he can do it for me. 2021, papi, with a deficit. No coma mierda. No coma mierda. Mr. L. Buff, thank you so much for supporting the channel. Thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. Coño, you know what it is? Somebody just put it down grande right now. Just put it there, and he's saying what it is, a deficit for 3 years because the plan was in line. No, I'm not a conspiracy theory. I'm just putting the dots. I'm just saying, wow, these people really are something else. And now they're telling this young kid that's telling me, no, Juan, you're wrong. It's for electronics and solar panels and so on and so on. They get the first shot. No coma mierda. They're all holding it back because this thing, the truth, papi, you know what it is. This thing is going to go to the moon. And they're not going to let us buy, kilos and pounds of silver when it's moving on up. It's moving on up like the Jeffersons moving on up. And they're not. I explained to you something yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, that if you're smart, you should understand how this works. Pennsylvania Avenue has a son, and Pennsylvania Avenue, he has a smart kid. He probably went to one of the best business schools in the world. That kid, he's like 7 feet tall. You know, 7'3". He's unbelievable. Real tall. You know, I don't know if you guys were here the other day when I said this, but I'm going to say it quickly. You know, he had a genius. You know, he had a genius plan in his head. And, you know, he was studying the Pennsylvania guy. He was studying him, you know, the son, 7'3". And, you know, he went to his father and he said, Dad, you know, when you're going to make the announcement over there for China on the tariff situation? He said, I'm going to make it in the next day. He said, yeah? Well, Dad, lend me $30 million. Lend me $30 million. You know, that kid, 7'3". Lend me $30 million. You guys don't know about this. You guys don't know about this. $30 million. And the father questioned him, what do you want that for? Give me the $30 million and I'm going to give you back. I'm going to give you back. I'm going to give you back some big money. So the father gives him the $30 million. 7'3" goes and he buys $30 million in Bitcoin. $30 million. And he tells the father, you told me when you're going to make the announcement. Let me know. Okay, I'm going to tell you. Boom. You know, China people, 100% tariff. And the kid back there pulled out everything. You know, pulled out everything at Bitcoin. You know how much he made? Made $190 million, papi. No sean lambones. It's all rigged. Is that called inside trading? Or what is that called? You know, forget about, you know, what team you belong in. If it's blue or it's red, it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to me if you belong to the blue and the red. Es la misma mierda con diferente peste. It's the same shit with different smell. That's all. That's all. But you guys don't want to hear that. You guys want to hear unboxing a watch, a rotor, a strap. Papi, for you to get all that, you need to get this first. You need to get this first. And then I'm giving it to you for free. Because these people are not going to tell you. These people can't even make no more content, papi. There's no more content for them no more. Yes, they're buying watches. Yes, they're buying watches amongst themselves. Spoofing. You know what spoofing is? Spoofing. You know what spoofing is, ladies and gentlemen? That's what they're doing. Spoofing among themselves. To see if a palomo will fall down. To see if a lollipop sucker will come in and believe what they're telling you. Papi, no comas mierda. No comas mierda. You know what it is? $30 million and he got paid $190 million. He gave the guy from Pennsylvania Avenue, here's for you $100 million. Thanks for the $30 million. I got 90 now. You know? When that kid leaves the White House, when that 7'3" leaves the White House, papi, he'll have $1 billion. He'll have $1 billion. I can tell you that. And who's paying taxes for that? Go ahead, tell me. It works like a charm. It's unbelievable. The little kid, you know, 7'3". He said, Dada, when you're making, because this is unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. Dada, hi Dada, how are you? When you going to make the announcement to the people from over there from China? 7'3" in the next half an hour. No problem, I'm pulling out something now. What do you mean? I call you back, Dada. This kid went to one of the finest business schools in the world. Pete, he went to one of the finest business schools in the world. You guys don't know about that. You guys don't know about that, ladies and gentlemen. You guys don't know about that. And I have to tell you this because it's my duty to tell you this. Because we continue skip hopping around through life. The best, Mr. Donut just put there, the best business school in the world. I put that part, the world. You know, it's unbelievable. So, you know, imagine this 7'3". You know, the son of Pennsylvania Avenue. And he does that. You know how Pennsylvania Avenue gets? You know, you remember, guys? Do you guys remember when you had your son? He was 4 years old. You know, you had him in t-ball. You know, t-ball, and every time, you know, your little boy would stand on the plate to hit the ball, he would miss it. He would wolf it. And you know, you're the father. You were like that already. And some parents even had nervous breakdowns and fell to the floor. That's the way that man felt, you know? It wasn't T-ball. It was a business. It was a business. And his son came through. Like what I keep on telling you about. You know, those people over there from the Diamond District, you know? The best crib. And you know how to manipulate a cell. You know, the way those parents, I'm telling you, you know, let me tell you, I have the most respect for the Jewish, you know, people. They're unbelievable. You go to school with 10 blow pops, 10 blow pops. You go there to school, and if you sell 6, you're going to be an unbelievable businessman. This is how it is, papi. This is how it is. Y ustedes son unos lambones. You guys don't know, connect the dots. Right now, we're going through a moment that if we don't get smart, you need to find that silver. If you're looking for silver, I'm not giving you no financial advices here. I'm not. But if you're looking for silver, you better start looking for it, because todos esos sapos, todos ellos, they're putting it away for them. No, it's ours, bro. It's ours. Papi, $50 a troy ounce of silver, and imagine that thing hitting $1,000. Imagine. It's for them, you know. You know, this one, Congress, Senator, Mayor, you know, Bob Menendez from New Jersey. You know Bob Menendez from New Jersey? Ese tipo es una gonorrea. Bob Menendez. I keep on telling you. See the bigger picture. Understand what you're looking at. You know, look at it again so you can see what's going on. They're you know, what they're doing to us is a mass. Let me tell you, that guy Anonymous, he said it. He said it. And let me tell you this before I get out of here. Don't think for a moment when you see them that they're talking bad of each other. When they're talking bad of each other, the blue team or the red team. Papi, again, you know, no sean lambones. Forget about them talking bad about each other. When the cameras are off, they are in tremendous gala together, you know, saluting the owl together, all of them. You know what I'm trying to say. You know, they're all together saluting the same one. I don't want to use that word, but I'm going to have to use it so you guys understand me. They're all saluting their God. And that's how it is. You know, they sit there, they talk bad about each other. No, because you need to release those files from that guy, and you need to release this one. Ladies and gentlemen, they got that lady, Maxwell Coffee. You know, Maxwell Coffee, they got her. She's going to be in the street pretty soon, papi. These people, they're all, you know, they're real estate agents. All these people are real estate agents. These are all real estate agents. You don't know what I mean? So I'm born, brother. You know, I need to drink a little bit of this because I'm warming up. You know, I got 6 minutes left. Let me get a little jungle juice here, you know. This thing will get me going. They're all warming up, you know. Es la misma tela. It's the same, you know, textile, you know. They're all cut with the same one. They're all same cloth. The same cloth, ladies and gentlemen. The same cloth. They talk bad about each other, and you this and you that. And then when it comes to fundraiser, they're all together. They're dancing. You know, the Clinton, the guy that drops his pants faster than Bill Clinton, dancing with his wife, you know, the Pennsylvania Avenue, and Pennsylvania Avenue dancing with the other lady, you know, Hillary, you know, dancing together. They're all together, papi. No sean lambones. It's the best. It's the best there is, you know. Remember, man, I mean, you know, Hey, you know, the prophecy, man. The prophecy, you know, it's not silence, you know. Eso está escrito, papi. They have an agenda that they have to follow. Only I'm breaking the agenda, and maybe they're gonna break me one day for saying what I'm saying, you know, because I'm dropping you this knowledge. I know that some of you understood this, and some of you didn't understand this. Let me give you a little watch market update, so you know you go hop along Cassidy. You know hop along Cassidy. You go nice. Ladies and gentlemen, our first watch on this matinee afternoon. Our first watch is the Patek Philippe Cubitus. Blue dial Cubitus, 45 millimeter. Stainless steel with rose gold with a beautiful blue dial and a rose gold bezel. It's unbelievable, this watch, ladies and gentlemen. This watch is the 5821, and it has a retail price, ladies and gentlemen, of, I don't know, this thing has a price of, probably $48,000, $48,000. And I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, because you need to know the truth. People out there have it for 100,000, 102, 105, 107. I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, you do whatever you want, but this is the truth. Don't pay for that watch more than $90,500. You do whatever you want. It's your money, and you do whatever you want. I'm telling you, don't let these people get you with the sketch that the people that get the first preference in silver are electronics and solar panels. Don't do it. Don't do it. You were right there, Mr. Donut. You were right there. I'm telling you what it is. Don't let them tell you that one. That's the one they have. And I believe Mr. Grande, he told you that the deficit of silver is exactly, like I'm telling you, exactly the time frame. The time frame. Since 2021, papi. You listen to me, guys. You cannot prepare a plan in one day. This is mammoth, colossal. Mammoth, colossal. You have to, you're going to be involved in this. What was the president number, the one that just passed, the one that left the White House? What was that guy's, what number was he? 46? I think it was 46, right? 46. Yeah, 45. 46, 47. It was 46, right? They told 46, you're there, you're going to be part of this, but you're not going to be in it to see what's going on. This guy's going to come in, or that one. They're going to be able to see what's going on. It's all a plan, papi, and it works like a charm. Papi, this has been, how can I say, the attack has been performed to, and they're all of them are working together. Larry Fink from BlackRock, you're up. Go up there and move your masses around. Told him it's tokenization, tokenize. You told him everything, Larry. Larry Fink. You guys don't know who Larry Fink is? He's the brains behind the curtain. BlackRock, And then you get the other guy. You get the other guy from Vanguard. And you say, this is your part. You say this. Papi, these people are unbelievable. If you do what they say, you're in trouble. Do the opposite. Dangerous. You do the opposite. He told you to go up, you go down. Te jodiste. Papi, listen, man. How is it that you are one of the biggest people? One of the biggest people, and you have an office. You have an office in the 102nd floor. I'm just going to say this quick, man. On the 102nd floor. And you call that person that's in the 102nd floor, hey, Tommy, what's going on? We're going to meet up in such place, I meet you. I'm going to go pick you up. Don't move from there. I'm going to pick you up. Well, what do you mean? I got to go to the office. No. We're going to pick you up. We're going to pick you up over there. I'm going with Stanley and Charlie and this guy. And they go pick you up. And while they pick you up, That thing is coming down, papi. This is all rigged, man. It's all rigged. You know, if you don't know what I said, that's your problem. I told you what it is. You know, I told you. You know, oh gosh, oh gosh. You know, when he's already in the limousine stretch, you know, with big, you know, puffy seat, he's looking over there. You know, from the other side. Oh my God, look what's happening over there. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about that. Let's go. That's what it is, guys. Okay, I got to, man. Ladies and gentlemen, our next watch is an AP Royal Oak Chrono. You know, this is unbelievable, you know? White dial, rose gold, reference number 26315 with a 38 millimeter casing. Beautiful white dial. Ladies and gentlemen, this watch is unbelievable. It costs $80,000. And I'm going to tell you, you do whatever you want with your money. You do whatever you want, but don't pay for that watch more than $59,500. You do whatever you want. You do whatever you want. You want it with all the bells and whistles. You want it with all the bells and whistles. Ladies and gentlemen, I also want to say something to all of you because Sweet Cake Kino gives me instructions and I must lay them out there, you know. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, that just remember what I'm going to say. When you guys send me an email, a text, a message, whatever it is, and you ask me for prices and watches, I do it freely because I love to do it. You know, I do it. But when you are asking me for a watch that costs $200,000, $175,000, $90,000, and you take that, you know, you take my clip from my show and you pass it along to your, you know, your favorite, you know, Muppet Boiler Room secondary grade watch market dealer, and he gives you the price very close to what I say, you know, some of you are doing well. You know, just keep that in mind. Some of you are doing real well. You buy a watch that costs $80,000 and I say, don't pay this much, and they give it to you pretty close. You know, I did you a big favor. You know, Sweet Cake Kino did you a big favor. I just leave you there with that, okay? That's what I got to say, just in case, you know, you guys don't think we see that you guys are doing well with my prices. Ladies and gentlemen, our next watch that I'm going to give you here is a watch that I'm going to tell all of you something today that you need to know. Sometimes watches, they start making a move. You know, they start making a move, and some of them you say this watch is dead. It's dead in water. But some of them, for some reason, they can come out strong and build some muscle. We're talking about the Adamas Piquet Code 1159, okay? Code 1159. You guys have to start looking at it, you know, because it's making a little, it's trying to make a little, you know, leap, you know, a frog leap, you know, it's trying to make it big, you know? So you got to be very, very careful with that, you know, AP 1159, Code 1159. I'm going to tell you about this watch. This is an AP Code 1159. They call this the Star Wheel. Star Wheel. It has, you know, 3 gauges inside, and it moves around like that. You know, it's unbelievable. You know, yeah, you got to be careful. Exactly, Mr. Donald. You got to be careful. It's the Star Wheel, the AP, the Muppet Boiler Room right now. They're going like this. They're going like that. Oh man, he's saying that, forget it. He's doing us a favor. The Star Wheel. AP Code 1159. Code 1159. White gold with black ceramic. You know, this watch is making a move, and you gotta be careful. Because it is. You know me, I'm gonna be the first to tell you, no. That watch doesn't have pulmonía. It doesn't have bronchitis. That watch is lifting up. It's going up. Slowly is getting up. And I must tell you because that's what I do. I'm stupid like that. I have to tell you. So that watch, the star wheel, reference number 15212NB. NB. Beautiful watch, ladies and gentlemen. White gold with black ceramic, It's unbelievable with blue, with blue Aventuride dial, with a blue Aventuride dial. It's unbelievable, three things that moves around, star wheel, Unbelievable watch, unbelievable. But ladies and gentlemen, the retail price of that watch is $59,600. Sit back, because it's coming. It's coming. You might be thinking, it's gonna be another $25,000 watch. You're thinking it's gonna be another $25,000 watch. But I got news for you guys today. Exactly. You saw the retail price. But ladies and gentlemen, don't pay for that watch. Don't pay for that watch more. I gotta tell you what it is, And that's like a Velcro strap, Velcro strap. Don't pay for that watch more than $54,000. You do whatever you want. I'm giving it to you the way it is. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna talk to you about a Rolex Sky Dweller, 42 millimeter, rose gold with a rhodium dial. Beautiful watch. Reference number 326935. Retail price $50,900. Don't pay for that watch. You do whatever you want. I got to give it to you. Don't pay for that watch more than $40,500. All right, guys? Do yourself a favor. And ladies and gentlemen, this is my last watch market update, of this matinee for you guys. It is and dropping. But wait till you hear this one. Wait till you hear this one, Wicked. Wait till you hear this one, Mr. Blair. Wait till you hear this one. This is the Rolex Sky Dweller. Yellow gold. Rolex Sky Dweller yellow gold. 42 millimeter. 42 millimeter. Unbelievable watch. Yellow gold. Sky Dweller. Green dial. Let me explain to you something about this watch. This watch has the same green dial that the one with the Jubilee bracelet has the green dial. Oyster bracelet, Jubilee. Todos los enfermos, all the sickos out there in the Muppet boiler room among themselves, they hype up in a subliminal way to all of you that the one to get and the one that has a lot of meat left on the bone is the Jubilee bracelet. And nobody really wants. In this case, it's not a dog. It's not a dog, but it's not the one with the Jubilee bracelet. That green, it pops. Correct, right? But it doesn't have the Jubilee bracelet. It has the Oyster bracelet. And that's not the one that people really want, They want the one with the Jubilee bracelet. Son unos Lamborghini. So we're talking about this watch, which is beautiful, the 336938. You know the price of that watch. You know what's retail on that price, $58,000. $58,000. $58,000. I'm gonna tell all of you so you guys know what to do and how to handle it when you cut my clip and you send it out to your people to give you a good price, and I save you thousands of dollars, right? Because there it is. There's no money in the street. El dinero está al caso. I don't know how to say this. El dinero está al caso. You know when there was no gasoline, in the 70s, when there was no sugar, no milk. How do you call that in English? How do you call that in English? I forgot. I know it's al caso. There's no silver, like silver, right? Like silver. Está al caso. There's no silver. How do you call that? When there's no gasoline and you had to make big long lines, to get blackout. Is that what it's called? Blackout? Okay. Blackout. They say it's blackout. I don't know. Maybe it's blackout. Thank you, Mr. Donut. So there's no sugar, there's no milk, there's no gas, you know, there's no this, it's contaminated, we don't have it. You know, okay, rations, okay, well, that's the word, rations, okay? So this is what's happening. There's no money. There's rations out there for money. There's rations for money. No hay dinero, papi. There's no hay dinero. Shortage. Thank you, Mr. Blair. Thank you, Mr. Blair. There's shortage. There's no money. There's shortage of money. There's shortage of silver. I just finished telling you, silver. There's no silver. And they're giving you the subliminal message because we have to give the people out there, they have preference, electronics, and solar panels. Because we're the big club and we get to keep it all. We're not gonna give it to nobody else. It's all for us because it's at $50 an ounce, and it might go to 1,000, and we're gonna make all that money. You know, rations, there it is. You know, shortage, rations, all that. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you are looking to buy this Rolex yellow gold Sky Dweller with a green dial, oyster bracelet, 42 millimeter. Oyster bracelet, not the Jubilee, oyster with a green dial. Don't pay for that watch. And I mean this, don't pay for that watch more than $61,000. You do whatever you want with your money. It's your money. La situación está jodida. There's no money out there. That's all I got to tell you guys. Guys, I really hope you enjoyed this watch market update and you learned something today from this matinee show. You know, you learned something. Please don't forget to subscribe to this unbelievable public service watch announcement channel that only tries to bring you the truth in what's happening out there. And be careful with that guy, Anonymous. He's around there, you know, be careful with Anonymous, all right? Anyway, guys, like me and Sweet Kick Kino will tell you guys always, take care and brush your hair. Thank you, Mr. Wicked, for that super chat. Thank you very much for the super chat. Thank you, all of you, for supporting the channel. All of you, by being here, you're supporting the channel. Not only by a super chat, by being here as well. Again, muchas gracias a todos. Bendiciones. Have a beautiful weekend. I'm going to go out with the wife now. I'm going to try to get lucky. Peace.